Tonight, a major court victory for supporters of gay rights. The highest court in America's most populous state clears the way for same-sex marriage. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, President Bush jumps into the campaign fray.
Some seem to believe that we should negotiate with the terrorists and radicals.
Barack Obama calls it a false political attack on him. The ripple effect of high gas prices in our special series, Eye on the Road. And a modern-day rocket man takes to the skies.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. The hot-button issue of same-sex marriage is front and center again in this country and in the middle of a presidential election campaign. California's highest court put it there today by striking down the state's ban on gay marriage. The 4-3 ruling clears the way for California to now join Massachusetts as the only states where it's legal for people of the same gender to marry. 4 others permit civil unions, but 26 states have constitutional amendments banning same-sex marriage. John Blackstone is in San Francisco and was at the court when the California ruling was handed down.
With shouts and tears, those who fought to win the right to marry celebrated on the steps of California's Supreme Court.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I can't wait to marry my partner. It's just a beautiful day.
4 years ago, Jeannie Rizzo and her partner Polly Cooper joined the flood of gay couples getting married at San Francisco City Hall. But they were in line when the state Supreme Court ordered the ceremonies to stop.
God.
Today, Rizzo phoned her partner of 19 years from the courthouse steps.
I don't know the details of the ruling, but I think we're getting married pretty soon.
Marriage is the right to marry the person that you love, and I'm here with the person that I love.
The news spread quickly to San Francisco's predominantly gay Castro neighborhood.
Got goosebumps. I'm crying. This is a moment I waited for all my life.
At City Hall, where the mayor opened the doors to gay marriages 4 years ago, today's victory was sweet.
What a day in San Francisco! What a day in California! What a day for America!
But opponents of gay marriage are already working to overturn the decision with a ballot initiative in November. What's wrong with legalizing gay marriage in California?
Well, the main problem here is that the court has overstepped its bounds.
Still, a rush of gay weddings is expected as soon as the ruling takes effect in 30 days, and these marriages will be unquestionably legal.
But as a practical matter, once you give same-sex couples the right to marry and they marry, undoing those marriages is a headache.
Certainly the fighting over this hasn't ended yet, but California's Republican Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger says he'll uphold the court ruling and he'll oppose the ballot measure to overturn it. Katie?
John Blackstone reporting tonight from San Francisco. Thank you. And if the gay marriage debate is a preview of what may come in the fall election campaign, here is another, a two-pronged Republican attack today on Barack Obama on a key foreign policy matter, Iran. Chip Reed has that story.
The Republican barrage began in Jerusalem today, where President Bush appeared to be taking aim at Barack Obama.
Some seem to believe that we should negotiate with the terrorists and radicals.
Negotiating with terrorists today, he said, would be like trying to appease Hitler before World War II.
We've heard this foolish delusion before. As Nazi tanks crossed into Poland in 1939.
A White House spokesman denied that Obama was the target.
Hi, guys.
But when John McCain jumped into the fray, there was no doubt where he was aiming.
Why does Barack Obama, Senator Obama, want to sit down with a state sponsor of terrorism? It is a serious error on the part of Senator Obama. It shows naivete and inexperience.
In a written statement, Obama said it was sad that the president would use the celebration of Israel's 60th anniversary to launch a false political attack. Obama, who has said he would meet with leaders of Iran, Syria, and Cuba, noted that Presidents Kennedy, Nixon, and even Reagan also negotiated directly with America's enemies. Even Hillary Clinton came to his defense.
President Bush's comparison of any Democrat to Nazi appeasers is both offensive and outrageous.
For McCain, the focus on Obama yet again overshadowed his own campaign, and an unusual speech today in which he imagined what the world will look like in 2013, at the end of his first term.
America has welcomed home most of the servicemen and women who have sacrificed terribly. The Iraq War has been won.
Democrats say McCain's crystal ball must be cloudy. Their crystal ball, they say, not surprisingly, shows a Democrat in the White House for the next 4 years and the troops home from Iraq long before 2013. Katie?
Okay, Chip Reed, thanks very much. Jeff Greenfield is our senior political correspondent. And Jeff, why do you think President Bush's comments are striking such a nerve?
Because the president in the Israeli parliament made a statement that everyone knew, including the White House, had to be seen as a frontal attack on Barack Obama, the presumptive Democratic nominee. This is a key theme we're going to hear all fall, that Barack is naive, inexperienced, doesn't understand the real danger that is out there in the world. Also, because the Republicans think they have a shot at the traditionally Democratic Jewish vote. The number one fear in Israel and among some American Jews is Iran. That's who Obama wants to talk to. And it's stirred up quite a hornet's nest.
Well, meanwhile, Jeff, let's talk about this state Supreme Court decision in California striking down the ban against gay marriages. Do you think that will have national implications in the fall? Because it has, the issue has before.
In 2004, after Massachusetts issued a similar ruling, 13 states put gay marriage bans on the ballot. They passed overwhelmingly. And in Ohio, where they passed overwhelmingly, it's credited or blamed with bringing out a lot of evangelicals that might have made the difference in getting Ohio and therefore the White House to Bush. It'll be on the ballot in Florida, a big competitive state. If it's on the ballot in California, it's hard to see how that blue Democratic state would kick. And Arizona may put it on the ballot. I don't think it'll have the impact in 2004, but it's something the Democrats would just as soon not have seen arise in this campaign year.
Right, and something we'll have to watch. Jeff Greenfield.
Okay.
Jeff, thank you very much. Now we turn to the latest on that tragic earthquake in China. The government warned today the death toll there could reach 50,000 people, and the Red Cross now says more than 4 million homes were destroyed. 130,000 soldiers and police have joined the rescue and relief operation. CBS News reporter Celia Hatton is there.
After 5 days of desperate searching, the massive effort to rescue the living is shifting now to recovering the dead. Still, survivors are being found. Hungry and dehydrated, this woman was trapped in rubble for 3 days before she was dug out. Whenever I heard people outside, I shouted help. When I could not hear anything, I just shut up to preserve energy, she told her rescuers. Relief teams are also focused on meeting the basic needs of the living, resorting to parachute drops in areas that are still too remote to reach. But the search for food, water, and safety has triggered mass migrations of people into Sichuan cities, like this relief center in Mianyang.
This man says that at their home they had no food, no water, and so they walked for 2 days to get to this refugee center over here.
After watching our interview, bystanders gave precious milk to the couple's granddaughter before the family waded into the crowd, hoping to find shelter. The catastrophe has also set off political aftershocks. The Chinese people are pushing their own state media to investigate why so many schools were badly constructed. 900 students were killed in this school collapse, a tragedy magnified by China's one-child policy of urban planning. Because of it, many of these grieving parents lost the only child they were allowed to have. I've gone to the crematorium to look for my child, but I couldn't find her, cries this mother. Another school in Mianyang County is dealing with the opposite problem, children stranded without their families.
School administrators say they know which children lost their parents in the earthquake, but they don't want to tell the kids yet because they're worried that they'll give up hope.
Celia Hatton, CBS News, Mianyang, China.
Meanwhile, in Myanmar, UN officials are worried about a second wave of deaths from that cyclone because an estimated 2.5 million people are in danger of disease or starvation. New videotape obtained today by a relief organization shows a long line of people at one of the few relief supply centers. Once inside, each is given just one bowl of rice and one bottle of water. Here at home, a first in the internet age, a federal grand jury indicted a Missouri woman today in a case of cyberbullying, one that may have led to a young girl's death. Sandra Hughes has that story.
2 years ago, 13-year-old Megan Meyer committed suicide in her suburban St. Louis bedroom. She had just received an email from someone she believed was romantically interested in her, a 16-year-old boy named Josh. It said, "The world would be a better place without you." But after her death, it was revealed the emailer was really 49-year-old Lori Drew, a neighbor and mother of another girl. Today, federal officials charged Lori Drew with conspiracy and other felonies in a case of cyberbullying.
This adult woman allegedly used the internet to target a young teenage girl with horrendous ramifications.
The unprecedented charges came out of Los Angeles because MySpace is headquartered here. According to the indictment, Lori Drew created a fictitious account and used MySpace to harass, humiliate, and embarrass.
She played an absolutely ridiculous game with my daughter's life, and I want to see her pay justice. I want to see her pay time in jail.
Federal officials say the lesson is clear.
Whether the defendant in this case could have foreseen the tragic choice made by Megan, she is accountable for her fraudulent actions.
In another attempt to protect children, Facebook announced it's tightening its restrictions, like MySpace did earlier this year, to keep adults from impersonating and targeting kids online. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And there is much more CBS News ahead, including to infinity and beyond. Buzz Lightyear has nothing on the man who can fly. But up next, job cuts, reduced services, just some of the fallout from record high gas prices. Those record high gas prices are keeping us closer to home. A AAA survey out today says the number of Americans who plan to travel over Memorial Day weekend is down for the first time since 2002 following the 9/11 attacks. Gas prices, meanwhile, hit a record high of $3.78 a gallon today. That's 68 cents more than we were paying just a year ago. One energy analyst predicts the price will top out before Memorial Day somewhere between $3.85 and $3.90 a gallon. We've been taking a closer look at the impact of these record gas prices in our special series, Eye on the Road. Two of our correspondents are driving across the country in opposite directions, one in a Toyota Prius, the other in a Ford Fusion, heading for a link-up tomorrow in Independence, MO. Tonight, Nancy Cordes is just outside St. Louis. And Nancy, these gas prices are the gateway to all kinds of budget headaches, aren't they?
Headaches that are getting worse all the time, Katie. Here in St. Louis, for example, city officials budgeted for $3 million in fuel costs this year, but they're already set to exceed that by $1 million. On our way here, we stopped in Louisville, Kentucky, where we found that the high gas prices there are having a surprising domino effect.
When we arrived in Louisville, we headed straight for the Breslin Park pool. Half the city's public pools will be padlocked this summer, leaving these little girls high and dry.
I thought it couldn't be true until I really came here and actually saw it, that it didn't have any water.
A really tough decision.
It's one of many, the mayor told us as we drove downtown. For every penny gas prices go up, his budget is taking a $30,000 hit. He's also cutting back bus service to save fuel.
How many years have we been saying public transportation, public transportation? People said, no, I'd rather have my car. Now they say, I'm ready to get out of my car. What do you got, Mayor? I say, well, you know, we don't have enough money to even run the routes that we have today.
It's horrible. In a little while, everybody's going to be on a bike or a moped.
Mayor Abramson took us to the municipal garage, where non-essential city vehicles are being put in park.
But not only have we parked some, we're now downsizing them all. When we used to buy Escapes, we're buying a Focus. Notice they're all Ford products. We're a Ford community.
And that's another problem, because sales of the gas-guzzling trucks Ford produces in Louisville are down 19%. Unsold hundreds are gathering dust behind the plant, while the employees' lot in front gets emptier and emptier.
In June or July, they're going to lose a complete shift. So a lot of folks going to be put out of work. And if they're not working, how are they going to afford gasoline?
No workers means no business for Kathy Miller. Her bar across the street used to get 50 visitors a night. Now she's lucky to get 15.
You are really dependent on Ford to survive.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We could, if Ford would shut this plant, we'd probably shut our doors.
And if folks like Kathy or plants like Ford have to shut down, that puts a dent in the city's sales tax and payroll tax revenue, which in turn forces the mayor to make more tough choices. A challenge, Katie, he says every mayor in the country is facing.
All right, Nancy Cordes proudly sporting her CBS News gear tonight. Thank you, Nancy. And we'll see you and Jeff Glor when we meet up tomorrow in Independence, Missouri. Meanwhile, coming up next tonight, fighting crime backlogs at America's crime labs are making the job a whole lot harder. Crime fighters all around the country are keeping a very close eye on an important bill now making its way through Congress. It would keep desperately needed federal money flowing to state and local crime labs. The bill is called the Debbie Smith Act, named for a crime victim who knows all too well the link between science and justice. Bob Orr has her story.
Victims' lives depend on it.
Debbie Smith's nightmares began in 1989 after this man dragged her from her Williamsburg, Virginia house and raped her. He threatened to return.
The whole time he had me, he continually said to me, "Remember, I know where you live. And if you tell anyone, I'm going to come back and I'm going to kill you."
Debbie lived in constant fear, contemplating suicide, until 1995 when a prosecutor called. A DNA match had finally revealed her attacker was in jail and had been for 6 years.
I would have killed myself for nothing. 6 months after he attacked me, he was picked up for another crime. But I had no way of knowing that until that DNA match was made.
When used in a timely manner, DNA provides more than peace of mind. It's a powerful tool for prosecuting violent crimes, rapes, and murders. And DNA has already been credited with solving more than 65,000 cold cases.
But DNA is not a magic bullet, as it's portrayed on television.
We found your DNA under the dead girl's fingernails, Mr. Jeffers.
The weak link, the network of labs charged with collecting and testing DNA, is overwhelmed. 300,000 evidence samples are backlogged on shelves, still waiting to be processed.
People are being victimized, being raped and murdered because of that backlog.
DNA expert Chris Asplin is a former federal prosecutor.
Because we're not testing DNA samples, we're not putting profiles in the database, so we're not taking people off the street who are committing those rapes and murders.
Take the case of Raymont Hopewell. When he was convicted on drug charges in 2004, Maryland police never even collected a DNA sample and had no way of knowing he'd raped and murdered 2 women. So Hopewell, released after a 6-month jail term, went on to murder 3 more people. It's that fear of not stopping repeat violent offenders that now has the FBI lab working overtime to clear its own 2-year inventory of untested DNA files. Blood taken from 180,000 convicted offenders.
We don't want to have a backlog at all. We want these samples to come in, we want to run them, we want to get them in the database so they can start being compared to forensic cases.
And they're counting on technology to catch up. Using robots like this one, they'll soon be processing 30,000 DNA samples a month, far more than the 400 a month technicians used to do by hand.
We know every case impacts family and people's lives, and that's what we're doing everything we possibly can to get these samples into that database.
For Debbie Smith, now a crime victims advocate, any backlog is too much for those still waiting for justice.
It's very difficult to look at them and just say, you just have to wait. Just hold on one more day.
Hold on until DNA is the crime-fighting weapon it's meant to be. Bob Orr, CBS News, Williamsburg, Virginia.
Finally tonight, proof that man can fly, and the man who can showed us how in Switzerland. Richard Roth reports.
Stepping off an airplane 7,500 feet above Lake Geneva, and look, up in the sky, it's Yves Rossi, a 48-year-old Swiss airline pilot soaring 185 miles an hour, strapped to jet-powered wings.
I don't steer it, I fly it. You know, it's like the child playing the airplane like that. It's exactly like this. It's totally intuitive.
Pure flight, he calls it, like flying in an airplane without the airplane.
You're almost naked. You have just this little thing on your back, and moving your body, it turns, it flies, it climbs. It's like something artificial, but it's real.
And if Rossi's achievement isn't quite a giant leap for mankind, it certainly does look as if life's imitating pop culture.
Sometimes you gotta run before you can walk.
But in Hollywood's current blockbuster take on manned flight without an airplane, starring Iron Man as a very high-tech Icarus, there's a lesson. Don't try this without a movie studio. The internet is full of proof that's a warning widely ignored. Rossi, too, has had what he calls some whoops moments in the 5 years spent developing his fold-up wings, powered by 4 jet engines designed to fly model planes. What drives him is a passion about flight.
It's not a dream. I'm here. I'm flying like I wanted in my head as a kid.
His ambition now, he says, is to fly 22 miles across the English Channel and to go see the movie this weekend. Richard Roth, CBS News, London.
So we leave you on a high note. That is the CBS Evening News for tonight. I'm Couric. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.